3 All-Stars, all 23, all very different personalities. Is Caitlin Clark our MJ? Is Paige Bueckers this era's Larry Bird? Is Angel Reese the villain? All that and a great Summer League bet straight ahead. I'm Doug Kezirian. This is Hard Pass, also available in podcast. Paige versus Caitlin, the first of many professional meetings. Now, it lacked the drama and margin of their most recent meeting in college at the Final Four, decided last year by just 2 points in the final seconds. This one was a blowout from the second quarter on. Fever franchise record 64 points in the first half, and they win by 19. Paige, though, 21 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists. Clark, 14 with 13 assists. Both stars played well, but the main reason for the lopsided score, Clark's good fortune, being drafted to a solid team, one that already had 2 All-Stars in Kelsey Mitchell and a former #1 overall pick, Aaliyah Boston. Bueckers' team absolutely stinks right now. It's getting worse, in fact. Arike Gumbawale was a perennial All-Star, 0 of 10 from the field in her first game back from injury. Dallas started multiple players that have been claimed mid-season on waivers. Yeah, among the worst records for a reason, but all superstars have had growing pains in all sports. Time now for a heat check, as today's high-profile showdown certainly induced some reaction on social media. Blake with a direct yet comical tweet from the wine store. Johnny, silly, but I'm okay with it because his ex-bio literally says, bad photoshops. Much better editing skills from Tony G. And that last pick does bring me to my next point. Clark's arrival does feel a lot like Michael Jordan's, even to the point where injuries plagued their second season in the pros, and their All-Star selection was the focal point of some controversy. Yeah, remember the 9th guard thing with Caitlin Clark not too long ago? Jordan was an absolute marketing machine, and it feels like Clark is similar, tasked with growing the sport like no other. Maybe it's only a matter of time till we see the Be Like Caitlin commercials. Because that was certainly a staple back in the day with Gatorade and Michael Jordan. Paige is similar, but her efficient game doesn't generate the same type of highlights. That's not a knock. She just plays within herself to the point where teammates have told her to shoot more. Hoopers love her, but does she move the needle like Caitlin Clark? Absolutely not, but that's okay. She is as authentic as anyone, and that's likable in her own regard. And if we're doing the 1980s comparisons, maybe she's like Larry Bird, understated yet very competitive, and fills up the stat sheet. As a rookie, Bird averaged 21.3, 10.5 boards, 4.5 assists. Paige, 18.5, 4 and 5.5 in shorter games. Let me know your thoughts of these comparisons. Am I forcing it too much? Who do they remind you of throughout NBA history? And what do we make of Angel Reese then? Is that Magic Johnson? Very different positions, obviously, and games. But there are some similarities where both won a title in college, were misunderstood early on. Magic was mostly well-liked, had the magnetic smile. But don't forget, he clashed with Kareem, demanded a trade in just his second season. That ultimately got his coach fired. I think for all three of them, we forget how much more of a fishbowl they live in, thanks to their social media reach and marketing appeal. Jordan, Bird, and Magic mostly said all the right things because they knew when the cameras were rolling. Our access as fans was so limited back then. Plus, I think we often forget an important component to being a fan. To like a player is not the same thing as liking every single thing they do. For example, I mostly like Angel Reese. But yes, her taunting Clark in the final minutes of that title game was classless. The behavior was classless. That's indescribable or inarguable. But so what? I'm okay with it. She was 20 years old at the time, and her competitiveness got the best of her. So be it. Those stretches of a few seconds here and there do not define her. Yes, it was not the best look, but again, I'm willing to look past it. I also understand that the source of that behavior is also what makes her a good player. The fire and intensity, much like Kevin Garnett, as I have said time and time again, making that comparison.
Anything's possible. Anything's possible!
Yes, that was her anything is possible moment. Let me know in the comments section, am I being too soft on Angel Reese? Does she deserve all this scrutiny? She brought it on herself. Let me know your thoughts. Also, as for Bueckers and Clark, I would imagine they'll soon be competing for titles. Both are extreme talents and championship centerpieces. Now, on the branding side of things, Clark moves the needle like no one else. And Bueckers already has her own Nike shoe and certainly plenty of commercials herself. Both understand their responsibility to grow the sport, and that entails signing autographs and other types of similar access, much more than those 1980s stars ever had to deal with. It's just a fact. They're likable and seemingly authentic, which has led to their well-deserved popularity. Yes, they say all the right things, and sometimes those comments feel canned, but I personally believe they genuinely believe what they're saying. Maybe I'm naive, but that's how I feel. Angel Reese, just slightly less corporate, but there's also a reason she has the most Instagram followers and also a great relationship with her fans. What makes her a bit less conventional and polished is also what makes her a role model to so many, strong and confident while being black. Yes, race is playing a factor here, and that can sadly turn off some people, which has helped her with that polarizing or villain label. Above all, it's important to recognize that they're all just 23 years old and have huge responsibility and attention without being able to go anywhere in public. Technology, cell phones, being 6 foot or taller prevent that. So we may see something that doesn't sit well with us. Fine, I'm okay with that. We all have friends we don't love 100% of the time. We deal with it, right? Frankly, that would have also been the case with Magic, Bird, and Jordan if we had similar access to them during their young 20s. This segment is where we like to discuss sports betting, whether it's to recap some wild bets that surfaced recently or an unusual outcome, i.e. a bad beat, or a particular wager I like, given that I've been doing this for over 2 full decades. Tuesday has a very good bet, in my opinion, in the Vegas Summer League. Nets and Knicks over 177.5, which is what I was told the total would be by an odds maker. New Knicks head coach Mike Brown has instructed the Summer League staff to implement a fast pace, and they've done that. Their first game flew over the total by 15 points. Second one went under by 3, but only because both teams shot under 20% from downtown, combined 11 of 64. Good bet, bad result. And when handicapping a game, it's all about betting value or a perceived edge, not to be results-oriented. So in this case, it's about pace because of an over. And the Knicks have delivered on that. So I think we have not a good, but a great bet. Fans in the Stands is the segment for you, our fans in the stands, the audience. And we want to know your thoughts, what you like, what you dislike, things you want to see more of, less of, suggestions, bets you like, or bets you want an opinion on. We answer them all in the comments section. We had some really good comments in our last episode about Angel Reese and her selection of the cover of the NBA 2K game and things that came from that, especially the tweets by RG3. Pretty bizarre stuff. So let's check out some of your comments. No name here, just a handle. I love your fair take. With so many channels that make videos about how they can't stand Reese and keep comparing her to Caitlin Clark is sad. You definitely got a new subscriber from me. Thank you. Appreciate it. Charles Faulkner, I was pleased to see your astute, fair, and reasonable commentary. It is in marked contrast to much else that is available. Thanks for an informative and enjoyable show. Thank you, Charles. Of course, we're not just picking out the fluff. Cynthia says Angel Reese should be on the cover. It's their prerogative to put whomever they want to put on it. I'm an Angel Reese fan. I'm happy to see it. However, it would not matter to me who was on the cover. RG3 needs to stop. He knew exactly what he was doing. I have zero respect for him. Eric says, no way she should be on the cover. Great show, Doug. All right. Fair enough. Everybody's allowed to their point. Didn't in Spanish, you stands are hurt, stay mad, Karen. I replied, why am I a Karen? So you need some feedback there. But again, we don't just show the fluff comments here on Fans in the Stands. Road to Peace. I think it's the choice of the company. It's their business and entertainment choice. And the ones complaining are not an investor in the company. Congratulations to Reese. I hope she continues to be successful on and off the basketball court. Your analyst is fair. This is Reese's second year in the W. RG3 is attempting to stay relevant. His approach to this was a backhanded way to showcase a very hateful comment about Reese. RG3 has become weirder. All of this noise is sad. I've been a fan of the W since Rebecca Lobo played with the Liberty and Tina Thompson was balling, so your take was refreshing. Also, Flag, as in Cooper Flag, will be an awesome player. He's a baller on the offense and defense. Looking forward to it. Agree with your take on the NBA draft selection. The last 5 years have been on point. So yeah, prior to Alex Sarr, the number one picks have all delivered. They've been the best in that class, and they weren't no-brainers. So well done by the league. And this year was obviously much more of a no-brainer. But the comments and the RG3 domino effect that day was just wild, with Angel Reese being on the cover of the video game, and then everything that transpired after that. So great input, great engagement. We appreciate your thoughts. Let us know. Always join the conversation, as we like to say.